Yeah, that's what he did. And messed up, like, he saved from up there where y'all at. He saved from New York. Well, upstate.
Upstate New York? Nah, we don't claim that.
Screaming at the top of your lungs don't make you that guy. Try to watch my style and replay it, don't make you fly. Don't take a break, cause the fake like the snake. When the big dog away, all they do is clout chase. When I enter the room, all they do is bout face. Put them lions on my back, then ball with the minister. Side put me on there, everybody wanna mimic you. Yeah, I thought I told you we the toughest here. We be on the scene, niggas screen our shit. We the toughest you done seen, we the big boy clique. If he really want smoke, I pull up with him. Toughest environment, smoke city. I can tell by your energy, you ain't really woke. He showed up to debate, but he choked. No money in his pocket, boy broke. Shit, the only thing he can teach is hope. Kill a spider, drown a fish, stomp a rose, do something. But don't come on sa.neter with the stunt. Everybody over here getting money. Touche hit me up, told me gon' run it. Guess I'm Carl Lewis. You looking dumb foolish. Nigga way upstate making soft music. Boy, this the toughest environment, show you how to do it. Mr. Toughest environment, show you how to do it. We be on the scene, niggas screen our shit. We the toughest you done seen, we the big boy clique. If he really want smoke, I pull up with him. Toughest environment, smoke city. I can tell by your energy, you ain't really woke. He showed up to debate, but he choked. No money in his pocket, boy broke. Shit, the only thing he can teach is hope. We be on the scene, niggas screen our shit. We the toughest you done seen, we the big boy clique. If he really want smoke, I pull up with him. Toughest environment, smoke city. I can tell by your energy, you ain't really woke. He showed up to debate, but he choked. No money in his pocket, boy broke. Shit, the only thing he can teach is hope.
Yeah. Once again, god damn, man. Shit. Sorry, y'all. My bad, man. Hold up. Shit. Peace and Black Power, family. Welcome to another sa.neter TV, House of Consciousness. All right. Peace and Black Power, family. Welcome to another sa.neter TV, House of Consciousness production. Oh, man, this is part 2. We got Selah, Shalom in the building once again. Hey, as y'all come in, can y'all please hit that thumbs up button, please? Like the video. Like the video. Hit the thumbs up for us. Selah Shalom, the Ethiopian Bible. All right? The product of Rome. This is going to be a part 2. If y'all didn't see part 1, go on my channel and check it out. Part 1 was slamming. Part 2 is going to be even better. And when we open up for questions, keep it on this. Keep it on what he's talking about. So pay attention. All right? Without any further ado, I bring to you my brother, Selah Shalom. What's up, Selah? How you, man?
Peace, peace. What's going on, King? How you, brother?
Man, I'm good, man.
Yeah, you sure? What you got going?
Oh, yeah, I'm good. Nah, caught one of them flare-ups. This shit is crazy, man.
Word?
Flare-up shit, yeah.
Damn, man. I hope you get better, King.
Yeah. That shit ain't no joke. That's painful like a mother. But anyway, it's going through. It's going past. It's passing through.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Most definitely, man. Hope you get well.
Okay, brother. Talk to me, man.
Yeah, since I did the part 1, you know what I mean? Some things arose up that I decided to do a part 2 to go ahead and clear all this up. So part 2 is gonna nip this in the bud. It ain't gonna be no more talk about the Ethiopian Bible after this.
Yeah, let's get it, man. That's what I'm talking about. You got the floor, brother.
All right, appreciate you. Let me show my screen.
Hey, shout out to Malik Maccabees in the building. Shout out to my brother Malik.
To my Malachi Maccabee. Yes, that's my brother right there. Shout out to the Creative Gang.
Shout out to Malachi Maccabee.
Yes, sir. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We ain't gonna waste no time. Jump right into it. All right. So here you have the Ethiopian Bible, a product of Rome, part 2, the Council of Chalcedon, the 9 Saints, and the Ethiopian connection. Now, the theological belief that started it all, Christology, is the branch of Christian theology that studies the person and nature of Jesus Christ. We're going to examine the Gospel of John. The Gospel of John was originally anonymous. Hear that? Originally anonymous. First mention of attributing the book of Mark or the book of John is the church father Irenaeus from the 2nd century Common Era. He's the first one to attribute the Gospel of John, the son of Zebedee, based on church tradition. Source: Irenaeus Against Heresies, 311. John, the disciple of the Lord, who also leaned upon his breast himself, published the gospel while residing at Ephesus in Asia. So this is the first reference we get to the name John, coming from Irenaeus, 2nd century Common Era. But this attribute comes decades after the text was composed. The earliest physical manuscript, P52 or Papyrus 52, is dated to the 2nd century and it's in Greek. Now it contains no author. Now the first attribute, like I said, came from Irenaeus, 2nd century. He's the first known person to attribute John the Apostle to this text. So now, the oldest physical evidence, P52, the Gospel of John. The reason I'm specifically dealing with the Gospel of John is because the Gospel of John is when the Logos was first mentioned. And this is where the concept of Christology begins. The oldest physical evidence of the Gospel of John, of course, is from the 2nd century. And as you see, the Gospel of John does not go back to the time of John. So again, these church fathers are backdating these stories to create a narrative. So if these papyruses of John was found in the 2nd century, 3rd century Common Era, and they're backdating it to the 1st century, that means they're controlling the narrative. And as again, here's a map. We put everything on a map so you can see clearly what's going on. So here you see the papyrus, the times that they was acknowledged in the 2nd century, and then you see them backdating it to validate the narrative of the story of John the Apostle. Now, the oldest physical evidence of John chapter 1, verse 1 is in Greek, and it's in the beginning was the word Logos, and the word Logos was with God, and the word Logos was God. Papyrus 66, which is dated to the 2nd, 3rd century. Now, the oldest reference we have of the Logos is from Heraclius, 500 BC, first known person to speak of the Logos before John. Now, here's a fragment of Heraclius, a source, where it states, although this Logos is true always, yet men are unable to understand it. So the Stoic philosophy of the 3rd century, another source, clingeth to Zeus, and it states, for we too are your offspring, bearing the Logos, the word, within us. So here in Greek theology, the son of Zeus are called the Logos, the word, and Zeus would be God the Father. Now, last time I was up here, when I referenced that when the Romans conquered Egypt, I remember sa.neter in Revelations was like, well, the Romans would have had to learn from the Egyptians. Well, let's go ahead and source this up and correct where did the Romans learn from. The Greeks taught the Romans. Suetonius, source, De Grammatis, chapter 4, it states, Livius was the first to teach both Greek and Latin grammar in Rome. This is a source telling you that the Romans learned Greek and Latin grammar, that the Romans learned it from the Greeks. Plutarch, source, Life of Aemilius Paulus, 6:4. He placed about his children Greek teachers, men of the best character and learning. So again, we're seeing sources where the Romans learned from the Greeks. Here you have Cicero, source, the art of rhetoric. What's that? Rhetoric. Slipping on that word. But heroic, the art of heroic, which the Greeks perfected, we Romans have adopted from them. So I'm giving you sources where the Romans learned directly from the Greeks and not the Egyptians. Greeks text as standard school books. Quintilian, source, Quintilian 185, it states, boys should first read the Greek, for Greek literature is the older. These are sources letting you know where the Romans learned from. Roman children learning Greek first. Aulus Gellius, chapter 13, 1 and 1, it states, in our time, it is thought proper that boys should first learn to speak Greek before Latin. So here is clear to see that Romans got their education directly from the Greeks. Now, coming back to the Logos, the word, the Romans would have got the concept of the Logos, the word, from the Greeks directly. And here are some more Roman quotes of the Logos. Here you have Seneca, a Roman Stoic, repeatedly cited Heraclius' Logos doctrine. Source, Seneca, Epistle 76:9. Heraclius said, all things come into being by strife, and the Logos, the word, governs the whole. Plutarch, Roman era philosopher, explains Heraclius' Logos. Source, Plutarch, Delpha 388e. It states, Heraclius taught that the Logos, the word, is common, and that all things happen according to this Logos, the word. Epictetus, source, Discoveries 1:14-6, it states, do not act without the Logos. Live in harmony with the Logos, the word. So Roman Stoic Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus built their entire cosmology on the Logos doctrine originally articulated by Heraclius. Now we're going to come to Philo of Alexandria, 20 BC to 50 BC. This is the first Jewish Greek thinker to use Logos as a divine meditator, foreshadowing John. Source, Oxford Classical Dictionary Philo. His works composed in Greek revealed mastery of the Greek philosophical heretical tradition. Source, Cambridge History of Judaism, Volume 3. Philo wrote in Greek and addressed an audience thoroughly familiar with Greek. Now, this is supposed to be a Jew speaking fluent Greek. We already showed you the Greeks influenced the Romans. And as you see, you have Jews speaking fluent Greek in this reference Philo. So now here's Philo on on dreams. Here's Philo, the source Philo on dreams, chapter 1, 2:15. It states, now listen to this. The Logos is the firstborn son of God. So here we have Philo using the Logos. In the same instance, we see his influence in Colossians 1:15. Who is the firstborn of every creature? Philo was using this pre-John, pre-New Testament. Source, Philo on the creation. Logos is the image of God. The word is the image of God by which the world was created. Doesn't that sound familiar? Philo, source on the creation, 146. The Logos, the word of God, is the instrument by which world was made. And we can see how this clearly, directly influences Colossians 1:16. For by him, the word, the Logos, were all things created that are in heaven and that are in the earth, visible and invisible. Whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him, the Logos, and for him, the Logos. So here is a time chart to show Greek influence from Heraclius to Philo to John the Apostle. So from the 5th century BC, we see that Heraclius is quoting hymns from Zeus, and Heraclius is referring to themselves as sons of Zeus, sons of the Logos, sons, offsprings bearing the Logos with us, the word. And then you have Philo, Greek influence. The Logos of God is the instrument by which the word was made. And then when we come to the 1st century, John, in the beginning was the word, the Logos, and the word, the Logos was with God, and the word, the Logos was God. So clearly we see direct Greek influence, and everything is being sourced up. The first mention that physically preserves I and the Father are one is P66 around the 2nd century Common Era. Now, the Gospel of John is the earliest source that introduced the idea of a union between the Father and the Son. It is also the only gospel in which Jesus directly identifies himself as being one with the Father. Key point, no other gospel expresses this Father-Son union in such terms. This concept later influenced and gave rise to 3 theological beliefs: the Miaphysite doctrine, the Diophysite doctrine, and the Nestorian doctrine. So the root of these 3 theological beliefs are rooted in the Gospel of John and no other gospel. Now, what is Miaphysite theology? Definition. The term Miaphysite comes from the Greek Miaphysis, meaning one united nature. Miaphysite theology is a Christological doctrine concerning the nature of Jesus Christ. Miaphysitism teaches that Jesus Christ has one united nature that is both fully divine and fully human, without separation, without confusion, and without alteration. Churches that hold Miaphysite theology, the Oriental Church, the Oriental Orthodox Church, the Coptic Orthodox Church in Ethiopia, in Egypt, which is Alexandria, and then you have the Ethiopian Orthodox Tahuidi Church, and they're caught up in this concept. Now, what is Diophysite theology? Definition. The term Diophysitism comes from the Greek diophysis, meaning 2 natures. Diophysitism is the Christological position that Jesus Christ has 2 distinct natures, divine and human, in one person. These 2 natures coexist without confusion, without change, without division, without separation. This is the official Christology of the Chalcedonian Christianity, including the Roman Catholic, Eastern Orthodox, and most Protestant traditions. Diophysitism was formalized at the Council of Chalcedon 351 CE. It became the official Christological position of the Eastern Orthodox, Roman Catholic, and most Protestant churches. So now, here's churches that uphold Diophysite theology. You have Eastern Orthodox Church, the Roman Catholic Church, most Protestant churches, Anglican, Lutheran, and Reforms. So now, what is Nestorist? Nestorist theology. Nestorist theology, also called Nestorism, is a Christological doctrine that arose in the 5th century. Nestorius, patriarch of Constantinople, 4th century Common Era, taught that Jesus Christ, there were 2 separate persons or natures, one divine and one human. Nestorius' teachings were condemned at the Council of Ephesus, 431. His followers moved east and influenced the Church of the East, sometimes called the Nestorian Church, centered in Persia. So now, what churches that they hold? the Assyrian Church of the East, ancient Nestorian communities in Persia, Central Asia, and China. So we're going to focus mainly on the Diophysites and Mephissites because they play a big crucial role in this. Now, here are the three different viewpoints. The Diophysites believe two natures, one person. That's the Roman Catholic Church. The Mephissites believe in one united nature. That's the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, right? So the Diophysitism and the Mephissitism are the most crucial in this presentation. Now we're going to move to Cyril of Alexandria, 4th century Common Era. His theology is the foundation of Miaphysitism. Now here's some sources where he's quoting his belief. Cyrus theology, source Cyrus' second letter to Sassoonus. We confess one nature of the word of God incarnate. Source Cyrus, Schola on the Incarnation, chapter 17. The nature which came together made one Christ and one Son. This is his quotes. Cyrus, Commentary of John, Book 1. By uniting to himself a body which had a rational soul, he became man in order to renew mankind. Source Cyril, the third letter to Nestorius, read at the Council of Ephesus. If anyone does not confess that Emmanuel is truly God and that therefore the Holy Virgin is the mother of God, let him be anathema, meaning let him be rejected, hated, disliked. Now, it is evident that Cyrus was influenced by the Gospel of John, as no other gospel emphasized the union of Father and Son in the same way. The Gospel of John, we have had a significant impact on his thoughts. Now, turning to the Second Council of Ephesus, whose proceedings stirred controversy and ultimately prompt the convening of the Council of Chalcedon. Now, here's where theological war begins, right? You think this is a war for the flesh? It's a war for the spirit. And Rome long won the war with Ethiopia because it was a mental war that they won. When Frumentius went in Ethiopia and crowned Ezana king, and Ezana converted to Christianity, the war was already won then. The mental war was already won. So now let's go on to the Second Council of Ephesus, 449. Now here's a depiction of Cyrus, black man. So now here's Constantinople, here's Chalcedon. This is where the these meetings took place, these councils took place, and here's Ephesus right here. So you have Ephesus right here where this council meeting is taking place. This council meeting is taking place. So now the imperial representative at this council meeting was Emperor Theodosius. He did not attend, but sent crown officials to supervise the proceeding. Who preside over the council was Dioscorus of Alexandria. So Pope Leo I called this the Robbers' Council. Now, why would he call it that? Now, look at the source. Look, this is his word, source. Leo I, Epistle 95, to the Empress Pulcheria. A council which ought never to have been called a council at all. For it was what? Filled with violence. It can only be called a robber meeting. This is his word. Source, Leo, Epistle 95. Epistle 95. The proceedings were carried out with such wickedness that they cannot be called a council. So here we see Leo I giving his account of what occurred at the Council of Ephesus. It is important to remember that these supposed to be men who claim to uphold the Christology doctrine. Yet, this is how they conduct themselves at these meetings. Now, the council orders Flavian of Constantinople condemnation without hearing his defense. Source, ACO, page 51. Let Flavian be deposed from his episcopate, right? More sources. Now, this is just sources to show you the nature of the council or what took place. Violence erupted inside the council hall. Source, Chalcedon Acts, page 92. Testimony of bishops. Armed men rushed in. We were beaten, for we signed under fear of death. Now, keep in mind, these are supposed to be debates about the nature of Jesus Christ, and look how they conducted themselves. Source, the sentence against Flavian, read at Ephesus 49, ACO, page 56. Flavian is hereby deposed from the episcopate and removed from all priestly dignities. Leo describes Flavian's death. Flavian of Constantinople was an archbishop of Constantinople from 446 to 449. Source, Leo I Epistle 28, the tome, preface. Flavian of holy memory was beaten and exiled, and shortly after died of the injuries he suffered. See that? So you have Emperor Marcion condemned the council in 449. Source, Marcion letter to Anatolius in AOC 211 states, the disturbance of Ephesus was not a true synod, but a gathering of violence and confusion. Dioscorus forbid the reading of Pope Leo's tomb. Now Dioscorus is a Miaphysite believer. He was the Pope of Alexandria, the patriarch, and C, meaning the head nigga in charge of the Church of Alexandria. And he was deposed by the Council of Chalcedon in 451. Now, source, ACO P31 states, let no other document be read. What has been done is sufficient, meaning Dioscorus refused to allow Leo's tome to be examined, preventing debate. What was the Leo tome? Was a document sent by Pope Leo to Flavian of Constantinople explaining the position of the see, the seat of authority of Rome, in matters of Christology. The text confesses that Christ has two natures, both fully human and fully divine. Now, he wanted this letter to be read in the council, and Dioscorus is like, no, we're not reading it. So I'm showing you the politics that's going on in these council meetings based off the nature of Jesus Christ. Dioscorus announces the final sentence against Flavian and closes the council. Source, ACO, page 56. We have deposed Flavian from the episcopate. Let the sentence stand. Source, ACO, page 60. The matter is concluded. Let the acts be sent to most pious emperor. This indicate the official termination of the council's business. So now, Theodorus, the second letter, confirmation states, what the Holy Synod has decreed shall stand firm, for the matter has been duly concluded. This imperial act officially ended the council. So this proves a brief account of the conduct of Dioscorus at the Council of Ephesus. Supposedly, holy men who committed grievous acts, including the killing of Flavian of Constantinople for opposing views. Dioscorus acted unjustly by refusing to read Leo's first tome, which supported the opposition, denying them a fair hearing. Amidst this corruption, the council ultimately sided with the Memphite theology. And being that Dioscorus presided over the council and is a Memphite himself, it's only right that he would decree his own doctrine. Now here's another source. Bishop Eusebian reporting how the council concluded. Source, Chalcedon Acts, session 1, page 92. They rushed upon Flavian. He was struck and beaten, and we fled in fear. We signed at the end only under threat and danger of death. Now keep in mind, this is coming from the people of Dioscorus people, the Memphites. That's who's committing these acts. Now, Bishop Eusebian of Dorylaeum protest. Dorylaeum protest. Source, ACO, page 34 states, you forbid me to speak. You act against the canons. This testimony describes the actual physical environment in which the final minutes of the councils unfolded. Now let's come to Roman Emperor Theodosius. Now I told you all roads lead to Rome. Rome is in charge. Rome is the overseer of this whole thing. They preside over this, right? So listen to his authority, Theodosius' authority in the Council of Ephesus. Source, Socrates, Scholasticus, Church History, Book 734. Theodosius summons the council. He summoned the council. He's calling the shots. Theodorat, verse 28. When information of these disturbances was brought to the pious Emperor Theodosius, he ordered the bishops of every province to assemble at Ephesus, that the doctrine may be examined and the truth made manifest. So Rome is calling the shot. Source: Acts of Ephesus, session 1, imperial summons. The most pious and Christ-loving Emperor Theodosius commands that all bishops shall gather at Ephesus at the holy feast of Pentecost to examine the present controversy. So Rome is calling the shots. He's calling for all bishops. That means the Memphisites, the Delphites, Alexandrians, wherever you at, he's calling them to come. Now, source: Acts of Ephesus, imperial letter, session 3. Let it be known that only after the matter has been examined from all sides shall we confirm the true and orthodox sentence, right? So they're trying to get a fair trial because the Council of Ephesus was called the Council of Robbers. They wilding. Source: Socrates, chapter 734. The Emperor Theodosius conveyed a synod at Ephesus for settlement of the dispute concerning Nestorius. So now, like I said, all this debating and fighting is over the divinity of Jesus Christ. The emperor confused by opposing reports. Source: Socrates, chapter 735. Now, this is the emperor. The emperor, perplexed by the mutual accusation, knew not whom to believe. Now, he confused. He's like, do I believe the Memphisites? Do I believe the Delphites? He's lost, but Rome is in charge. He's the authority. He's the one who said yea or nay. Now, the Roman emperor is not caught up in the theological debate. They just want to make sure things are handled accordingly, again, showing Rome's authority. Now, the emperor sends Candanian to supervise. Source: Theodore, verse 29. The emperor sent Candanius, commander of the imperial bodyguard, charging him to what? Preserve order and to prevent any innovation until all the bishops had arrived. So Rome is keeping things in order. Now Cyrus opens the council. Canadian objecting in the name of Theodose. Source: Theodose, verse 30. Canadius protested in the name of the emperor, declaring that it was his command that no council should be held before the arrival of the bishop from the east. John of Antioch sends his own report to Theodosius. John and the bishops with him wrote to the emperor, accusing Cyrus and those with him of unlawful rashness. So they're complaining to the Romans about the back and forth. Theodosius initially accepts John's charge, orders Cyrus' arrest. Source: the emperor, deceived by the representation, wrote that Cyril and Memnon were deposed and ordered them to be put under guard. See, Rome is calling the shots. Although this is a theological dispute, Rome is deciding what's the outcome. Final imperial decision: Nestorius deposed. Source: Theodorat, verse 36. At last, the emperor, having examined all the reports, confirmed the sentence against Nestorius and commanded him to return to his former monastery. Source: End of Acts of Ephesus, imperial edict. We decree that the sentence passed upon Nestorius shall stand. Let him return to the monastery whence he came. Source: Cyril letter to Theodos in Acts of Ephesus. Cyril urged Theodos to defend the faith handed down, quoting his one nature formula. So here you have Cyril begging, kissing the ass of Theodore to give a hair to his doctrine. So they're kissing the ass of the Romans. So here we see Roman authority with Cyril begging Theodore, the Roman emperor, to give an heir to his doctrine. Now, what happened after Theodore's death? After Theodore dies, what happened? Now, he died off of Theodore dies. Source: Chronicle, SA 450. Theodore, the most Christian emperor, died after being thrown from a horse. Source: Chronographer, AM 4952. The Emperor Theodore died after a fall from a horse. So how we have the sources of how he died, slung off a horse. So after his death, what happened? Who succeeds him after his death? Source: Chronographia, AM 4942. After the death of Theodosius, Platura again assumed the rule of the emperor. Platura, little shorty. Ecclesiastical Histories 2-in-1 source. Platura chose Marcion, a man distinguished from his virtue, made him her husband, and raised him to the imperial throne. Source, Priscus, fragment 8. Marcion was raised to imperial power through the decision and oath of Pulchera. Now, here we have the raise of Emperor Marcion and his role in the Council of Chalcedon, Roman Emperor of the East from 450 to 457, mid-5th century. Now, we have the Council of Chalcedon. Here's Chalcedon you see right here. Here's emphasis below. You see Rome over here. Rome and Constantinople is going to be powerhouses in this. Rome is the Western Roman Empire, and Constantinople is going to represent the Eastern Roman Empire. And these empires are going to come down on emphasis and the Mephistites. Now, the purpose of the council. The main goal was to settle disputes over the nature of Christ. Now, keep in mind, these niggas over here spilling blood for arguing if Jesus Christ is God or not, or does he have a divine nature or not? Is he two people or is he one? This is what this whole thing is about. People losing their lives over this theology. Now, the main goal was to settle disputes over the nature of Christ, particularly the debate between Mephistites and Diophysites, the status of Dioscorus of Alexandria, the restoration of bishops deposed at 449 at the Council of Ephesus. Since Dioscorus presided over the Council of Ephesus, called the Robbers' Council by Leo, and because the death of Flavian of Constantinople occurred under his watch, he is now being summoned to answer for his conduct and actions. Leo the Great, Pope, source, letter 95, epistle 95 states, after the death of Theodosius, the Lord raised up Marcion and Pulchera, through whom the Catholic faith has been defended. See, Leo said the Lord raised this man up. Source, fragment 214. What's that? Chrysippus was seized and executed as soon as Marcion gained the empire. Siphicius had supported Dioscorus and the Second Council of Ephesus. So Marcion slayed somebody that was a supporter of Dioscorus. So now it's about to get interesting. The divide is about to be strong. Acts of the Council of Chalcedon. Source, Actica Session 1. When the most poised Marcion and Pulchera became rulers, the injustice committed at Ephesus were brought to light, meaning the behavior of the Mephistites was brought to light under Marcion. Now, I told you the Mephistites got blood on their hand. They got the blood of Flavian of Constantinople on their hand. They killed that man at the Council of Ephesus. And these supposed to be holy men of Jesus Christ. Source, the Acts, AOC, page 72. Dioscorus, having been summoned 3 times according to the canon, did not come. He ain't show up. He low running somewhere. He was condemned not primarily for the doctrine, but for violating canonical procedure and for his role in what? Unlawful condemnation. See that? They ain't conducting themselves like Christ, but they want to be Christ-like. Source, ACO, page 114. Dioscorus is deposed from all priestly dignity for the crimes which he is accused. This is Marcion deposing this Dioscorus, who is a priest of Alexandria. He's removed from his episcopate by Rome. Source, Actica Concilium, Session 1. The most divine and Christ-loving Emperor Marcion and Pulchera have conveyed this holy and ecumenical council. This is Leo talking. Source, Epistle 104. We rejoice that Marcion and Pulchera have called a sacred council for the peace of the church. Source, Priscus fragment 11. Marcion sent word to Attila that he would no longer pay the tribute promised by Theodosius, because Theodosius is dead. So what Theodosius had in line is out the window now. He's gone. Leo the Great, Pope Leo I, praising Marcion for enforcing Chalcedon. Source, Leo letter 114:1. Through the zeal of your clemency, the decrees of the Holy Council of Chalcedon are everywhere being established. Now, reading the tomb of Leo's letter to Flavian, Pope Leo I had written a doctrinal letter to defending the Diophysite formula, but it was denied being read at the Council of Ephesus by Dioscorus. But at the Council of Chalcedon, it was read publicly, and the bishops reacted strongly. Source, ACO, page 83. After the reading, the most reverend bishops cried out, "This is the faith of the fathers. Peter has spoken through Leo." So this is going to show that the Roman Emperor Marcion at the Council of Chalcedon favored Diophysite theology over the Memphisite theology, which Dioscorus represented. Now, imperial edict against non-Chalcedonian Memphisite leaders. Source, Ecclesiastical Histories 2:4. Marcion issued edicts against those who opposed the council, commanding that they should neither assemble nor hold conventicles. So here you have Marcion laying down the decrees now, laying down the laws. If it ain't this, it ain't recognized nowhere else. Source, Ecclesiastical Histories 2:4. He ordered that the bishops who refused to accept the synod be deposed from their seats. So if you don't accept the Diophysite doctrine, that means you're going to be deposed from your seat of authority. This is Rome calling the shots. And Rome is siding with the Diophysite theology. Chalcedon Acts, Session 3. Dioscorus did not allow the tome to be read, nor the canons to be observed. Therefore, he is deposed. So now, here we see Emperor Marcion responding to Dioscorus' actions at the Council of Ephesus, specifically his refusal to allowing the reading of Pope Leo's tomb. Now those very actions have come back to haunt him. Acts of Chalcedon, source, Actica, Session 3. Dioscorus, for his crimes and contempt for the Holy Canon, is deposed from his episcopate. They calling shots. That's Dioscorus right there, a leading Memphisite. Source, Ecclesiastical Histories, chapter 2, verse 5. Dioscorus was banished by the command of the Emperor Marcion. Rome calling the shots. Source, Ecclesiastical Histories 2:5. The emperor established Protorius as bishop of Alexandria in the place of Dioscorus. Look at the authority Rome has. They displaced Dioscorus and put a whole nother bishop in here. Pope Protorius of Alexandria was the patriarch of Alexandria from 451 to 457. He had been appointed by the Council of Chalcedon to replace the deposed Dioscorus. And who's presiding over the Council of Chalcedon? Marcion. Here we see Marcion taking decisive action, removing the Memphisite bishop from their positions. This again demonstrates Roman's authority, not only through political enforcement, but also through control over the theological doctrine. The Diophysite theology is imposed by imperial edicts, and any opposition risks persecution. This is the political theological power exercised by Rome. Source, Ecclesiastical Histories 2:5. The populace of Alexandria were inflamed with rage, refusing to accept Protorius. This marked the beginning of what would later become the Coptic Orthodox rejection of Chalcedon. So the people of Alexandria are pissed. Just imagine somebody come take away your king and then replace your king. That's what Rome did. The Alexandrians resented Protorius deeply because they were strict Memphisites, while he upheld Diophysite beliefs. This sharp theological divide fueled the anger and unrest that erupted against him, a theological difference. Once again, this demonstrates who held true authority: Rome. The call to remove Dioscorus and appoint Protorius came directly from the Emperor Marcion in Rome. Now, Marcion strengthens Constantinople, extension of the Western Roman Empire to the east. Source, Actica, Canon 28. We, following the decree of the 150 fathers, have defined that the throne of Constantinople shall have equal privileges with the throne of Old Rome. So right here is showing you that they're extending the Western Roman Empire to Constantinople, meaning the Eastern Roman Empire. Source, Chronographer, AM 5943. Marcion confirmed the privilege given to the throne of Constantinople. Source, Ecclesiastical Histories 2:4. Marcion, by many edicts, strengthened the churches and upheld doctrine set forth at Chalcedon. Leo the Great to Petro, letter 101. Your faith has shone forth, through which the Council of Chalcedon has been defended and its decision safeguarded. Source, Chronograph AM 4953. Petrura strengthened the faith and protected the decree of the Holy Synod. Leo the Great, source, letter 104 to Marcion. The peace of the churches has been restored by your authority, and the doctrine of the fathers stand firm. So once Marcion got in charge after Theodosius, he went ahead and installed and then made the Diophysite doctrine law and authority, and anybody who wasn't following the Diophysite doctrine was removed and deposed from the episcopate or the see. Now, after the death of Marcion is when the Miaphysite revolt take place, 457 Common Era. Source, Ecclesiastical Histories 2:5. Upon the death of Marcion, the Alexandrians, being the Miaphysites, immediately revolted, refusing to accept Protorius. Hostile crowd attacked the Chalcedon Patriarch. Source, Ecclesiastical Histories 2:5. The people rose in turmoil, besieged Protorius, and calling for a bishop of their own party. So now they're taking back what's theirs. The death of Protorius. Source, Ecclesiastical Histories 2:5. They broke in and murdered Protorius with daggers. The corpse they dragged through the city and committed to the flame. That's how they killed this man. The Miaphysites, the same people who's supposed to be upholding the Christology, is over here burning and breaking and daggering, killing people. These supposed to be holy men of God. Libertas of Carthage. Source, Reverium 1. Proteus, bishop of Alexandria, was slain in the church itself by the enemies of the Council of Chalcedon. Who are the enemies of Chalcedon? That'll be Dioscorus, Cyril, and the Miaphysites. That's what they're referring to. Now, Pretorius of Alexandria, appointed after the Council of Chalcedon, 451 CE, was killed by a mob of anti-Chalcedon Mephissites supporters in 457 Common Era. Keep in mind, these supposed to be holy men of the Christology theology carrying on like mobs, like lynch mobs. Zacharias, a Memphite chronicler, source, Zacharias, book 4, it states, the people cast out Proterius, whom they hated, and enthroned Timothy, Alurus, as bishop. The rise of Timothy, a Memphite. So now they're trying to reclaim their position after Marcion. Here's the Memphites in Alexandria, source, Ecclesiastical Histories 2:7. Timothy was raised to the episcopate by the populace without canonical election. So they don't put one of their own in office without going through the proper procedures, without going through the inauguration and all that. Source, Chronograph AM 5949. The Egyptians set up Timothy as a Memphite as bishop in rebellious against the synod. Source, Chronicle Book 5. The people rejoiced, for Timothy was a defender of the faith of Dioscorus. Source, Leo I, letter of Alexandria. Timothy, who has intruded himself without election, must depart, and the peace of the church must be restored. So, hey, Leonardo was not liking what he's seeing. Like, yo, this got to be stopped. Marcion is gone, and they're trying to upload, and they're trying to uphold their own king. They're trying to install their own leaders without going through the proper procedure. No, it don't work like that. Source, Ecclesiastical Histories 2:10. Timothy, surnamed Salphasius, was established bishop by command of Leo. Source, Chronograph AM 5950. Leo made Timothy the Orthodox Bishop of Alexandria. Source, Reverium 18. Throughout the East, many rejected the synod of Chalcedon and favored the party of Dioscorus. That means they favored the Miaphysite doctrine over the Diophysite doctrine in this source right here. John of Nicaea, a Miaphysite. Source, Chronicles 84:6. The faithful rejected the synod that corrupt the doctrine of the fathers. Zechariah, Miaphysite. Source, Miaphysite Relic, Book 7. When Anastasius received the kingdom, the faithful rejoiced, for he was known to favor the confession of one nature. Coming back to the doctrine, that's their doctrine, that Jesus Christ is confessed as one nature, not two. So all this is over the theological belief of Jesus Christ. Now here's the fall of the Memphisitism under Justin, right? So under the Roman Empire, Justin, things get back in order. Now, here is the empire in 1555 CE under Justin I. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. I'm going upstairs with that. The trees, come get the dogs. My bad. All right, so now the empire. This is the Roman Empire in 1555 CE, coming under Justinian first. Now look at the extent of the empire. As you see, it's clearly ruling over Egypt, and it goes well into Africa. Well over here, it extended into Ethiopia, Nubia, right up in here. So this is the Roman Empire during the time that I'm reading. This map shows the extent of the Byzantine Empire under Justin. As you can see, the Coptic Church of Alexandria, Egypt, is under the jurisdiction of Justin. Now, source, Zechariah Chronicle Books, chapter 8. When Justin became emperor, all those who did not accept the Council of Chalcedon were deprived of their churches. So now, after the death of Marcion, the Miaphysites revolted, and they had a little uprising for a minute. But then when Justin comes in office, the new Roman Empire, he's shutting all that back down. Again, source, Scholasticus, Classical Histories 4:1, Justin, who was of right faith, restored the churches to those who accepted Chalcedon. Source, Imperial Edict of Justin. It states, and the imperial policy was summarized in the emperor's order. Let no one who rejects the Holy Council of Chalcedon remain in the church. So what that means for the Miaphysites, y'all about to get exiled out of here under Justinian. Source, Ecclesiastical Histories, chapter 4, verse 4. Severus and his Parthians were expelled, and their churches given to those who profess what? The definition of Chalcedon. So these Miaphysites is being expelled out, and the Deophysites is taking over. Source, John of Ephesus, Ecclesiastical Histories, Part 2. Under Justin, the persecution arose again with all violence, and many bishops were driven from their sees, referring to the Miaphysites, because they getting up out of here. Source, Zechariah, Book 9. Though they were persecuted and their church taken, the faithful Miaphysites continued secretly to gather and to ordain priests and bishops. So again, we see how Rome has total authority of either side of these theological groups. So here's Rome authority. You have Theodorus, Marcion, and Justin all presiding over the arguments among the Deophysites, Miaphysites theology. Now, the Ethiopian connection. So I had to go through all that to show you the nonsense the Deophysites and Miaphysites was going through prior to bringing their nonsense into Ethiopia. That's why I had to read all that, read what they took place in the Council of Ephesus, read what took place at the Council of Chalcedon, to show you that they're bringing that nonsense of the theological Christ doctrine into Ethiopia. 500 CE Common Era, we see this is the time that the 9 saints, all of them came into Ethiopia around this time. And who was in charge? The Eastern Roman Empire, which in return will be Constantinople, which in return will be the Deophysite theology ruling. And you see that the Roman Empire extended well into Kemet. Now, the 9 saints was Miaphysites. Now, keep in mind, the Miaphysites are the same ones who killed Flavian of Constantinople because he was a Deophysite. So now they're bringing their nonsense and their draggage into Ethiopia. The 9 saints were Miaphysites. Direct Egyptian missionaries influenced the spread of the Miaphysitism through Ethiopia. Egyptian monks brought Miaphysite writings into Ethiopia. This is preserved in the Gadla traditions. One example is the arrival of the 9 saints, 5th, 6th century, who were anti-Chalcedonian monks fleeing persecution in the Byzantine Empire. So who are they fleeing from? Why are they anti-Chalcedonian monks? Because they're Miaphysites. They follow the doctrine of Dioscorus and Cyril. And they was against the Deophysite doctrine. So they fled into Ethiopia, bringing their nonsense to Ethiopia. Aksumite traditions record. Source, Gadla of the 9 Saints, 6th, 7th century. Ethiopian manuscripts tradition translated in Bulge, 1928. They came from the lands of Romans and Syrians guided by God to teach the people of Ethiopia the true faith and to build churches and monasteries. Here are sources directly showing you that these Memphisites came from Rome and brought their nonsense into Ethiopia. First, it was Frumentius bringing the nonsense into Ethiopia, spreading Christianity, and Izana falling for it. And now we have a couple centuries later, these Memphite non-monks coming into Ethiopia, bringing this foolish theology. Source, E.A. Wallace Budge, The Book of the Saints of Ethiopia, Church, Volume 1, 1928. These holy men called the 9 saints came from the West and Syria to Ethiopia, bringing the doctrine of the Miaphysite faith. They founded monasteries in Aham and Tigray and instructed the people in the Christian life. See that? Rome theologically won the war since Frumentius, and now they're digging deeper, bringing this foolishness into Ethiopia. Source, Tasadasi Tamrat, Church and State in Ethiopia, 1972, page 36 to 41. It states, the 9 saints were Syrian monks who came to Ethiopia in the late 5th century, at a time when the local church was what? In need of well-trained teachers. Their influence was decisive in establishing monasticism and promoting what? Miaphysite theology in Ethiopia. They're bringing you a Greco-Roman theology to Ethiopia, which is what? That Jesus Christ is one and the same of the Father. Source, W.H.C. Friend, The Rise of Memphite Movement, 1972, page 298. The 9 saints were instrument in implementing Memphisitism in Ethiopia. They came before the influx of Severus writings, and their work laid the foundation for later Egyptian influence. See that? The Memphites was big in Chalcedon and not Chalcedon, Ephesus, Alexandria. That's where they were stationed. Now they're bringing it down to Ethiopia. And these Ethiopians ain't knowing about this. They coming, you know some of these indigenous tribes is overly nice and they'll accept whatever. So here these non-saints coming in and bringing this Memphite doctrine that got blood on their hands. Now, source, Ethiopia, Volume 3, 2003 says the 9 Saints Encyclopedia. It says the so-called 9 saints arrived in the northern Ethiopia in the late 5th century, founding monastic communities that became centered in liturgy, learning, and transmission of Miaphysite Christianity. Again, so here are several sources showing you how the 9 saints brought the Miaphysite theology, a Greco-Roman theology, into Ethiopia. And we already seen the behavior of the Memphites at the Council of Ephesus, being violent and destructive. Even the blood of Flavian of Constantinople is on the hands of the Memphites. But these supposed to be holy men of Christ, huh? The Coptic Orthodox Church follow the Miaphysite theology. Ethiopian Miaphysitism came from Egypt. Now here is a picture of Severus, a Memphite of Antioch, 4th, 5th century Common Era, was a patriarch of Antioch and head of the Syriac Orthodox Church from 512 until his death. Now, Severus of Antioch is the most important Miaphysite Oriental Orthodox theologian after Cyril of Alexandria. His faith refers to his Christological doctrine, which is called the faith of Cyril, the faith of the fathers, and the Orthodox faith. Huh? The Acts of Council of Chalcedon, Session 3. The Egyptians will never accept another bishop in place of Dioscorus. Huh? Remember, Dioscorus was displaced by Marcion. Source, Severus of Antioch, letter 40. The Egyptians would not commune with the synods of Chalcedon and establish their own bishop. You know why? Because Marcion decreed that if you ain't a Diophysite, all that other stuff is out the window. That's why Egypt of Alexandria is not rocking with Constantinople and the Council of Chalcedon, nor Rome. Source, although it all stems from Rome. John of Ephesus, Ecclesiastical Histories, Part 3. The Egyptians held fast to their faith of Dioscorus and ordained their own patriarch. See that? Source, Ecclesiastical Histories 4:4. Severus, having been expelled, nevertheless remained the patriarch to many. Source, Zechariah, Chronicles, Book 9. They ordained bishops in secret and preserved the faith of who? Severus, the Memphite. Acts. Source, Acts of the Council of Devon, Canon 6. We do not accept the tome of Leo, nor the Council of Chalcedon. Remember, the Tome of Real was denied being read by Dioscorus. And then it was read at the Council of Chalcedon, and Marcion agreed to it. So the Miaphysites is not going to acknowledge the tomb of Leo because he was a Diophysite. So all this is theological warfare. Council of the Divine, 6th century Common Era, confirms Miaphysite identity, source, acts of the councils of the Divine too. We affirm the faith of Cyril and reject the Synod of Chalcedon. So the two most important Miaphysites is Cyril and Severus. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church follows the theological Christological Miaphysite doctrine of Cyril. What is Tehuido? Tehuido actually means made one, unity or oneness. It comes from the verb wahadu, meaning to unite. Source, Roofness Church History 1:9. The Ethiopians received their bishop from Alexandria, meaning the Alexandria Coptic Church. Source, John of Nuku, Chronicles chapter 7, verse 87. Chapter 87. They, the Ethiopians, followed the Egyptians in rejecting the Synod of Chalcedon. Now the Egyptians is caught up in this nonsense. Prior to these niggas coming, they have no clue about what a Bephysite is and the Diophysites, but the 9 saints brought this nonsense and got them engaged in this battle between the Diophysites and now Ethiopians representing the Miaphysites. So now we see the Ethiopians being dragged into the beef between the Miaphysites and the Diophysites, choosing sides with the Miaphysites. Ethiopians inherit the Cyrillian Memphite theology through Egypt. Source, Cyril of Alexandria, second letter to Nestorius. His doctrine is one incarnate nature of God, the Word, the Logos. This became the foundation of both Coptic and Ethiopian Tahuidi Christology. The Ge'ez term Tahuidi literally means made one, reflecting the same theology. Severus of Antioch theology reached Ethiopia through Coptic translators. Source, Michael the Syrian, Chronicle, Book 9. The writings of Severus were sent to the Ethiopians by the Egyptians. John of Ephesus, Ecclesiastical Histories, Part 3, Chapter 4. The Egyptians and those in the regions under them received blessed Severus as their teacher, and his writings and letters were read in what? All their churches. Showing you the Memphite influence in Ethiopia through these men. Source, Zechariah, Chronicle, Book 10. The blessed Severus sent his homilies and treaties to the Church of Alexandria, and the Egyptians preserved them with great honor and distributed them to the brethren in distant regions equal Nubia and Ethiopia, Alexandrian districts. Source, Coptic History of the Patriarch of Alexandria, Volume 2. The doctrine of Severus, the Holy Patriarch of Antioch, is kept by us and by the Ethiopians and Nubians, whom we shepherd. His books are with us and with them. This is the clearest direct reference connecting Severus, Egypt, to Ethiopia. Source, Ethiopian Synaxarum, Severus, the great teacher, whose writings came to us through the fathers of Egypt. So I'm showing you a body of sources connecting the Miaphysite theology into Ethiopia. Source, the Pauline Allen and C.T.B. Lewis, Severus of Antioch, 204, page 12. The largest body of Severus works exists not in Greek or in Syriac, but in Coptic and in Ethiopia, Ge'ez. This demonstrates their transmission from Egypt to Ethiopia. So now the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible and the Logos, Greek and Roman influence. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tehuidi Church absolutely speaks of the Logos, and the concept is central to its theological theology, including its liturgy, Christology, and ancient writings in Ge'ez. Now, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church uses the Ge'ez Bible, which includes the Gospel of John 1:1. The Ge'ez text explicitly speaks of the Logos. Source, George H. Kirkman, the Ethiopic version of the New Testament, 1922. You got E.A. Wallace Budge, the Bible of Ethiopia, 1929, page 235, 236. In Ge'ez, the term used for word right here, Hebrat, or sometimes Malket, conveying the logos as God's divine word. This reflects the same understanding as John chapter 1, verse 1, a pre-existent, divine, and incarnated Christ. Now, the Ethiopian church fathers source Church and State in Ethiopia, 1972, page 32, Wallace Budge, Ethiopian Homilies, 1928. It states, in his hymn, the Logos, the Word, is called the Word who created all things, showing their clear theological continuity with John 1:1. Ethiopian Orthodox liturgical text, source, Ethiopian hymns and spiritual songs, translated in E.A. Wallace Budge, The Book of the Saints of Ethiopia, 1929, from hymns of the Ethiopian Church. O Word, Logos of God, eternal and uncreated, who came down to dwell among men. We bless your name forever. This hymn explicitly identifies Jesus as the Logos, divine and eternal, echoing John 1. Now, here is a timeline outlining the sequence of events that led to the arrival of Memphite in Ethiopia and the spread of their doctrine. So you see the line coming from Cyrus. Theodore was presiding and ruling during the time of the Council of Ephesus, which was favored for the Miaphysite doctrine. During that council, they killed Flavian of Constantinople, who was a Diophysite, who was opposed to their doctrine, but they killed him. So the Miaphysites got blood on their hands from the Council of Ephesus. And then after Theodosius dies, Marcion rises to power. When Marcion rises to power, he creates a revolt for the Miaphysites because he sides with the Diophysite doctrine. He removes Dioscorus from his office of Alexandria and replaces Petrus. And then you have a revolt period. Then after that, you got the 9 saints who claim in Egypt in the 5th century Common Era. You got Severus flees into Antioch, and his works reach Ethiopia. So by the time you get to the 6th century, Ethiopia is now compromised with this Miaphysite doctrine that came from these countries of Ephesus, Chalcedon, and Rome. Now, my conclusion. The evidence clearly shows that early Christianity developed within a deeply Greco-Roman intellectual world. The Gospel of John, like the Gospel of Mark, circulated anonymously rather than eyewitness signatures or author. The theological vocabulary used in these texts, especially the concept of the Logos, did not originate in Christianity, but in Greek philosophy, beginning with Heraclitus and expanded by the Stoics, because Romans were educated in Greek literature, language, and philosophy. They inherited these ideas long before the New Testament era, shaping how Christian theology will eventually express itself. I sourced how the conflicts among the early Christological parties, the Miaphysites and Diophysites and Nestorians, demonstrate how far removed these groups were from the ideal of a unified Christological holiness. Their conduct at Council of Ephesus 449 included intimidation, violence, and the death of Flavian of Constantinople, reveals that the doctrinal battles were driven as much by political power. This pattern became even clearer under the authority of Roman emperor like Marcion and Justin, whose political decisions determined which Christological position would prevail. Imperial rule consistently favored Diophysitism and suppressed Miaphysite voices, showing that the doctrine often followed imperial policies rather than the other way around. Finally, the spread of Memphite theology in Ethiopia through Ethiopian Coptic Church, the 9 Saints, and the writings of Severus of Antioch illustrates how far-reaching this Greco-Roman intellectual inheritance became. The Ethiopian Orthodox tradition emerged from a chain of influence grounded in Greek philosophical concepts, Roman imperial intervention, and the ecclesiastical legacy of Cyrus and Severus. In closing, I source, without a shadow of a doubt, that the Ethiopian Orthodox Church is a product of Greco-Roman theology. And with that, I'll land my plane.
All right, everybody. Powerful information. Part 2 was definitely awesome. Now we're going to open up the line for those of y'all who would like to ask questions. Please make sure you keep it on the topic. Let's keep it on the topic, y'all. All right, my brother. Anybody want to come in? Anybody? What's up, Maccabee?
Man, ain't nothing but love, light, and balance to the chat, man. Shout out to my brother Selah, Shalom.
Shalom, King.
Hey, man, hey, look, excellent and thorough presentation.
Yes, sir.
Very, very thorough. And for any Millie Mouth naysayer or anybody that has a problem or act like they got a problem with what they just heard, you dig? All we need you to do is simply debunk the sources this brother dropped. He just dropped about 1,100 sources on y'all.
Facts.
Right.
We not trying to hear the side jawing. We not trying to hear, oh well, it's just opinion. No. This brother just dropped sources back to back to back and prove the connection, right? And the influence. Trip off this side. Other than that, you saying Ethiopia influenced Rome with the logos. Ethiopia influenced Rome with the Trinity. Ethiopia influenced Rome. Come on, bro. We all know better. It's something different going on here. You see what I'm saying? And so the proverbial saying that all roads lead back to Rome, that's true. That's true. Who had control of all the literature? This brother brought up the Council of Chalcedon. Okay, we'll debunk his information he brought out with that. He brought up the Council of Ephesus. Well, if you don't like what's being said, debunk, go lick your fingers, go find you a book on the Council of Ephesus and flip through it. Exactly. And find out what really happened. You see what I'm saying? So salute to my brother Selah Shalom, bro. I think it was an excellent and very thorough presentation from part 1 to part 2. Anybody that's butt hurt, y'all already know what time it is. Creator gang, no.
That's right.
And every time we swing through, we park niggas ass sa.neter. Ass sa.neter. Every time we swing through, we put niggas in handicap.
And then only that, we stick to the script, even with them debates. Your people ain't stick. The Bari ain't stick to the script. The Paul ain't stick to the script. As far as what the topic of the debate was, Creator Gang is authentic and we genuine on what we stand on. Exactly.
Now on some real stuff. Now trip off this. I've been hearing a lot about the Adjustment Bureau lately, son.
That's right.
Hold on now. I just saw a debate between Jabari and Inky, and niggas like, hey, look, Jabari like we gotta hold Inky to the topic or the title of the debate, right? Okay. When CGG debated Kemet, what was the topic?
Who got the best cosmological order, and ain't nobody stick to the topic but
cosmogony, creation, and time. You dig? And who was firing out of their sources, and who wasn't? Come on, sir.
When I debated Zion Lex, who came out the book and who didn't come out the book? This is why the Adjustment Bro need to stand on what it stands on, because cats ain't standing on their square. They claiming to be representing something and they not backing what they say they represent based off the literature and the information coming out them goddamn scrolls, them books. That's what we want to hear. We don't want to hear no philosophy. We don't want to hear what you think about Kemet. We want to hear what them goddamn texts say. And if you can't interpret what the text say, you're not qualified to speak on it.
Exactly. Period. Battle with the holy books, man.
Big facts.
Subtitle Biblical Battles. Bring your spiritual text to the forefront.
And you remember,
let's see what the books are saying.
All right, you already know, Maccabee. You already know what happened with you and the captain, man.
Man, I put that boy in a blender. Hey, trip off this. Your audience voted for me over her when I debated that boy. Your audience voted for me. I had majority of the votes, and I don't even be over her.
And keep in mind, he ran from me.
Yeah, he ran from Big Dog Selah.
The flyer was made. The date was made, and the day of, you called me and said, he done backed out.
Creator gang, no.
To this day right now.
Wow.
And that's
Creator gang in the building.
Creator gang, no.
Hey, yo, let me, I got a young brother here, Ashe. Ashe is in the building. Hey, if that's you, brother Gideon, you know what you got to do, man.
What happened to Gideon? I seen Gideon pop. Like, what he gonna do? He gonna pop his shit, or what he gonna do?
I can't see you. I can't see you. You're hiding.
Hey,
I can't see you.
sa.neter, last time I was on when I did the first one, when I said
hold up, brother. I'm trying to see if that's Gideon.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Gideon, I can't see you. What the hell is you doing?
Excellent presentation, Selah,
yo,
Shalom,
man,
bro.
man, y'all got these.
Excellent presentation. Hey, stop. Everybody
How,
you brought us, we parked in handicap. What is you talking about?
Everybody.
We parked all them boys. We parked we ain't no with him. He was on the Lions Den side. We parked them niggas.
Yeah, Memphisite. Go ahead with
Yeah,
that.
he ain't talking about nothing either. Look, it say stop. It sound good.
It sound good. Hey,
It sound good.
Hey, yo, listen. Hold on.
Hey, no, hold on. Let me say something real quick. Cause Zion Warchild was on the side of them Lions Den niggas when we parked them in handicap. Look, they started adding niggas to the flyer when we debated them.
Oh, man.
Nigga, it was 4 of us and 10 of them niggas.
Yeah.
Nigga, what you talking about, bro? You lost with them.
Bro, I didn't even debate. I didn't debate.
Yeah, but you was on the flyer though. You was on the flyer though. So your name shouldn't have been on there to pop your shit, bro.
Your book is trash, bro.
No person.
Nigga ain't no talk trash, nothing.
Your book is trash, bro.
You can defend this Memphisite theology that
This
you
is
got
okay,
this practice
Nigga, you joined the side. You joined the side with them Lions Den niggas, and you failed with them.
All right, hold on, everybody, hold on. We don't want to mess up this scholastic work by my brother Selah Shalom. We're gonna allow the people to ask questions. Number one, we got brother Ashe in the building. What's up, my man?
What's up, Si? What's up, Si?
Peace, brother. How you?
I'm all right.
You got a question for Selah Shalom?
Yeah. Now that was a great presentation. It was very solid.
Oh, awesome.
He sourced up. It was dope. I did have one strict little critique and wanted to kind of ask him about it. Did he look into this? And it was concerning E.A. Wallace Budge. And when it came down to Wallace Budge's Ethiopic translations, especially within the text that you quoted from, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of modern scholars today, they reject Budge's his translations, his understanding on the Ethiopic culture itself. And along with a lot of antiquated cultures he spoke on, even Kemet. You get what I'm saying? Because these men, they weren't Kemetic scholars, they weren't Ethiopic scholars. He was just pointing from he was commentary. So they what's your take on that?
No, I feel you on that, because even when I see the source with Ali Bet, his name in that, but I'm gonna use it anyway because it still coincides with the argument that I'm raising. So even if we take out Wallace's Budge from my presentation, it doesn't negate none of the fact that I brought out, because I use other sources.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so the Memphisites coming to Ethiopia was already validated through other sources I showed, and Severus works, Cyril works. You know what I mean? So even without Budge in the presentation, it still holds weight.
I agree.
All right, I want everybody to know that 8 o'clock. I think the next show is going to also be awesome. I got Sister Dots will be in the building with Dr. Reggie. And I'm going to tell Reggie, do not take Dots lightly. Sleep on her if you want to, Dr. Reggie. And they're going to be dealing with history and lineage. So, Reggie, please, I know you probably listening to me, Reggie. Please, brother, throw on your gator skin, man. Please throw on your gator skin, brother. Because I know how you be getting when these sisters be coming at you hard body. Give them the same respect that you give these brothers, bro. Let her do her thing. Let her come in and question you without crying, brother. Please, man. I'm begging you, Reggie. Don't make us look bad. Just deal with a nice conversation, man. 8 o'clock. Be on the lookout for that. I mean, who y'all got? I'm a choose Dots. And the reason I'm going with my sister Dots is because I know how unraveled Reggie can be. So if Reggie don't be unraveled, if she don't unravel Reggie can get her with the information, with the knowledge. And that's all he got to do is stay on the knowledge and don't get razzled, man. You know, if he get razzled, it's over. It's over, man. And so with that, let me go to my man Zion, man. Listen. This dude, Zion Warchild, he been running through these leagues. He been cracking niggas' heads You know, y'all sleep on this brother, man. His name is War Child for a reason. And y'all Maccabees brothers and y'all gang want to try to gang up on this brother, man. But I think the gang, he got Cosmon running. He got one of your gang members running, brother, dropping his flag. What's happening? What's happening, man? Come on, talk to me, Zion.
Yeah, man. This is wild, yo. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know.
Turn your mic up. Turn your mic up.
You can't hear me? Let me see.
I can hear you, but it's real low.
All right, let me see what I can do here. Let me get this sound right.
Just probably get closer to the mic.
All right. Yeah. Oh, I can be loud.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, so you know, great presentation, Selah Shalom. My issue with you guys is that what you have suggested is that somehow in the last debate or in your last presentation, you made the statement that Ethiopia was under the authority of and I stated influence and cultural transmission does not denote authority, right? So yeah, I have a question for you, brother. Okay, so here we go. So Selah, if Rome truly held authority over Ethiopia, why does the Ethiopian canon preserve texts like Enoch and Jubilees and Rome explicitly rejected? Right? Doesn't that prove that
that's lightweight, bro? The so Rome like that. When they were selecting canonicals for the Bible, they were selecting and non-selecting books among themselves.
But my question is about the authority. So we saw with what you presented that the diopposite branch, which was the Roman authority, started removing anybody from positions of clergy and authority in Rome and in Ephesus and in Chaldea.
Based off of what? Based off of what? Based off of what, though?
From what you just said, from the diopposite, they started removing the myopposites.
But why, though? Why did they do it, though?
Because they disagreed, and the authority was underneath the Rome.
What did they disagree on? What did they disagree on? What did they disagree on
was the divinity of Christ.
Okay, stop there. You said it, the divinity of Christ. The divinity of Christ, and that concept is coming out of Rome.
You're going to pass over the question, though. That's what I don't want you to do. So the question is about the authority. How can you claim that Rome had authority when we clearly see the Ethiopian church going against it?
Because they didn't follow suit with what the Diophysites informed. They rebelled. They rebelled. There was all for one. And then the council meeting, it was the Council of Ephesus where the Miaphysites killed Flavian of Constantinople, which forced Marcion to bring back a new council, because Leonard I said that council of Ephesus was called a council of robbers because the Miaphysites was carrying on like some goddamn hoodlums, the same Miaphysites that ran into Ethiopia to give you your Ethiopian concept of the Christology. Same Miaphysites got blood on their hand by killing Flavian of Constantinople. So don't talk to me about none of that Roman stuff when your leaders got blood on their hand coming from Ephesus and Constantinople.
Stay focused. Now,
I'm very focused.
Right? Stay focused, right? So here we go. The authority was in the diopposite, and the ones who rejected were my opposite, right? Show me one place. This is the question. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Show me one clergy or any clergy in the Ethiopian Tuwahedo. That's how you say it, Tuwahedo. Right? Tuwahedo church that was ordained or removed by any other Coptic church or even the Greek or Egyptian or even the Roman papacy.
First off,
I need you to show me.
No, hold on. Marcion
was not
Marcion deposed Discorus and put pro-thesis in there.
Hold on. Watch out. Let him go. And you can go after him.
No, I'm not twisting nothing, because Ethiopia is an extension of Egypt.
No.
So if they compromised Egypt, and likewise, when the Memphites ran to Ethiopia, the theological war was already won with Rome. They already won the war because Memphite doctrine is in Ethiopia. That's a Greco-Roman concept. They already won the war mentally. They won the war by the time Izana converted to Christianity. The theological warfare,
I'm
Rome won
objection
them. And that was 400 years before the 9 saints and the Council of Chalcedon and the Council of Ephesus. Ethiopia was already compromised by the time the 9 saints came into Ethiopia through Frumentius.
All right, so watch this. Again, they had the power to remove folks from office. You're Roman, you know what I'm saying?
Give me a specific leader. Give me a specific leader. I'll give you one. Theodore. Theodore displaced. Theodore. Give me some names.
Is not an
one at a time, y'all. So the people get here, y'all. Zion, get Zion, and then I'm gonna come back to Selah.
So here's the thing. Once again, B, you can talk about the Egyptian church. You can talk about Alexandria. You can talk about Ephesus. You can talk about all of those Coptic churches and Rome's power and authority over them. What you cannot prove is that Rome was able to do that to Ethiopia. And here's the reason why. I'm going to tell you, Ethiopia did something different than all of those other Coptic churches. The Coptic church of Alexandria, they were all under their own authority. Ethiopia's authority over the Tuahito Coptic church went under the king alone, which challenged the authority of the papacy and Greco-Roman clergy. That's why they're separate. That's why they're distinct. That's why they're independent.
The only reason they're independently distinct is because Marcion decreed that all doctrine be of Diophysite philosophy, and they rejected all other philosophy.
Hold on, Zion. Let him finish.
That's what created the split. The Miaphysite split after Marcion died. Because Marcion put a decree that if you're not a Diophysite, and if it's not Diophysite theology, you're getting rejected. That's why Dioscorus got displaced from his episcopate and replaced with how you pronounce it? Protilius. How you pronounce the nigga name? You know what I'm talking about? But he was replaced. So if Rome could displace Egypt and Alexandria, what makes you think they can't do it in Ethiopia? The reason they ain't studying Ethiopia because Ethiopia
hold on, Zion.
Ethiopia is not prime real estate. Rome got their eyes on Egypt of Alexandria because of the geographical location. Now, don't think for a chance. I told you, Rome won the war with Frumentius. Frumentius brought Greco-Roman philosophy in Ethiopia, and King Izana converted to Ethiopia. Theological warfare was won by Rome then. So by the time you get to the non-states, by the time you get to Dioscorus, Severus, Cyril, and all these other Miaphysite philosophers, they already got the Greco-Roman theology wrapped up in their head. That's why you got a picture of St. Mark in the Garima Gospels, and St. Mark wasn't even acknowledged until the 2nd century and was written by Eusebius. So what is he doing in the book if it's not Roman influence? I'm giving you...
All right, hold on, Zion. All right, Selah, listen, brother, listen. This brother is well capable of taking on the general, the top soldier of the Owaspi. He wants to smoke with you. He don't want your minions that he would call minions like this.
Ain't no minions. I agree though. He needs to debate Selah.
I
agree. He needed to debate Selah.
Oh, that's easy work. That's easy work. You know that.
Selah, you want to smoke with him or what?
That's easy work, bruh.
All you gotta do is say yes or no.
Zariak ran. Zion Lex got his ass handed to him.
But this is war.
I'd have debated your best and had them running. Rothschild gonna end up in the same box. Because if I put my presentation in debate form, it's gonna be dangerous. Y'all see how I give it up in debate? Ethiopia is gonna be dead if he debate me on Ethiopia. And
is it a yes or no?
Yes, I'm telling you, yes.
Okay, hey, Rothschild, hold on.
This presentation before you even talk about it.
Hold on, Rothschild. When Selah, when you ready? In 2 weeks?
Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna bury that boy. I'm gonna bury Ethiopia, and I'm gonna bury that Ethiopian Bible.
Hey,
all right, Zion, are you ready in 2 weeks, brother?
Yes, sir.
All right,
we're gonna park this nigga handicap. Easy.
No, I got a question to Zion.
No, hold on, Selah, hold on. Text me the title, brother. Text me the title. Text me the title.
We got 2 weeks to get all that together. We're not gonna rush it. We established that we're gonna debate. We'll get the title and all that situated eventually. I got a question for the brother.
Go ahead.
Show me Ethiopian Orthodox influencing Rome. Show me the opposite. I showed you all the council meetings coming from Rome into Ethiopia. Show me Ethiopian in council meeting influencing Rome with sources. If you can't show that, you dead in the debate.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem.
Headshot.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem.
Headshot.
90 headshot. Okay with the triangulation. We're adults here. You know what I'm saying? Let's grow up.
Go ahead, King. Go ahead.
So here's the problem. Here's the problem. 90% of what we consider Roman Catholicism was influenced by the Nile Valley. There ain't nobody in here going to deny that. Was influenced by the Nile Valley, even down to their liturgical practices, the incense, the freaking daggone, all of that stuff was influenced by the Nile Valley previously to the influence of Rome to Ethiopia and Alexandria. So that's a freaking empty question. The second part is this: Ethiopia was isolated. Was because of the terrain, it wasn't possible for Rome to just run up in it. That's why they lost wars 3 times. There was one in the 13th century and 2 others in the
Bring it out, Zion. Bring it out, Zion. Bring it out. Bring it out.
So watch this. Here is how Ethiopia went against all of them. Ethiopia went even against the Coptic Egyptian church and all of the other ones by doing one thing. They claimed divine authority over any other religious authority. Even your dude that you just talked about, Theodosius and all of them dudes, could not, that when they said that we are of the seed of Solomon, that gave them divine authority, and only the kings were the ones who appointed their clergy. Not no daggone Greeks, not no Alexandrian Egyptian Coptics, and not no Romans, my brother. Only Ethiopia kept their traditions and their religious practices totally independent.
Hey, Selah, create a gang.
Never saw stuff. Show it.
Create a gang, probably. Hold on, y'all.
I'll show it.
Hold on. Create a gang, man. Y'all probably done.
Hey, stop, man. Stop. This guy, he joined himself.
This is his topic here.
Hey, he joined himself to the lion's den against us before and failed horribly with them.
I did not.
Yes, you did. You was on the flyer, and you should have put. You should look. Let me finish talking, Zion.
Let him finish, Zion.
You aligned yourself with the enemy before. You aligned yourself with those who said they would murder their children. Maybe JJ didn't say it, but everybody else on your side said they would kill their children if God told.
I remember that. You
aligned yourself with that.
Did he agree? Zion ain't say that.
Zion, but even if you agree or not, Zion, let me finish talking.
Let him finish.
Regardless if you agree or not, you aligned yourself with them.
Yeah.
And when y'all came, you aligned yourself with Judah Nazareth that said twice, absolutely, yeah, I'll kill my family if God told me.
What?
You aligned yourself with all these niggas. So what I'm saying is this, brother. You already came against us because you had a preconceived notion against what we talking about. And what I'm saying is, you up Dung's Creek without a paddle trying to run up against bruh. We done already handled all that. We done already handled your Zion Lexus and your Captain Zoyax. sa.neter chat voted for me, and I don't even be over here when I put that boy in a blender. Parked him 6 feet deep. What I'm saying is, if you got a problem with Selah saying, debunk his sources. You ain't sourced nothing. You ain't showed nothing. You sound good. You ain't intellectual. I give you that, brother. You know, you speak the King's English very well. I get that to you, brother. I ain't mad at you. You dig? But when it comes to that straight, hardcore, true punch you in your mouth, and I don't care what nobody got to say about it, it ain't NAM group, organization, or nobody messing with Create a Gang, though. That's what I'm saying. We represent the almighty creator. The always was, is, and ever shall be. Outside of your icons, outside of your logos, outside of your trinities that Ethiopia agree with the Roman Catholic Church, right? We roll with the Almighty. So whatever God you ever prayed to, Zion, in your prayer breath, is simply a creation, a son, or a daughter of who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Almighty. I'm not talking about the religion and all that. So listen to me. Selah did a valid point on you. Let me put you in the corner real quick. showed the Ethiopian influence over Rome. He just showed you Roman and Greco influence coming from that region into Ethiopia.
He's gonna show you in the debate. That's where he's gonna
show us the opposite.
Show us now.
And about this side, remember this: if he can't do it, he lost the debate.
Facts. Because keep in mind,
That's not the debate.
this is my presentation.
The debate is not
When I
about
put things in the debate form, it's a whole nother ball game.
The debate is not about influence, it's about authority, right? And that's what I came in here to discuss, because you made the statement that Rome was over Ethiopia, which is absurd. But and brother Cosmo, I respect you, but you're very well versed. You're a beast. You know what I'm saying? I can take.
I'm not Cosmo, I'm Maccabee, boy.
Maccabee, what
Get it
happened?
right.
You know what I'm saying, brother? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll beat up on you too. That's fine. All of this is
you too soft. You too soft.
I didn't cut you.
You gotta let him speak. You gotta let him speak now.
Let's be civil men, right? Like adults, right? So the problem is what you just did was a fallacy of overgeneralization. It's a guilty by association fallacy. That's that. So anybody in the audience who has a half a brain and understands anything about argumentation knows that is just what they call a Saudi defense in court, the SODD. Some of the dude did it. So what you want to do is you try to put me in the same group. I have totally different opinions than the people in Lions Den. And to be honest with you, I left the debate and let Takori go because Takori knew more about your book than I did. So I never even debated y'all. I was going to point out certain things, but it was already taken care of. And
don't show, hey, don't pop your shit if you ain't ready, baby.
You ran for a minute. Can I fly? Can I fly, brother? I mean, if you're not nervous or insecure, you know what I'm saying, you just let me talk and bury my own self, right? So at the end of the day, even Jabari smoked your book. You know what I'm saying? And here's the reality of it. The only reason these brothers are here trying to defame the integrity of the Ethiopian Bible, none of this stuff was technically about the Bible, it was about doctrine. But you know what I'm saying? And I could actually prove that there was biblical canons, biblical texts, not canons, in Ethiopia prior to Christianity even being influenced. I'll show you guys that in debate. But the reality is the reason why you're trying to tear down the Ethiopian Bible is to mask or trying to promote the legitimacy of
here it comes
by trying to minimize an ancient book of antiquity. Because we said, and this is probably a personal attack on me prior to, because I said something earlier to one of your young gentlemen who was on one of the other platforms, you know what I'm saying, came, you know what I'm saying, and flipped out, you know what I'm saying, trying to talk that spiel, talk like you. He was a little too young, but you know what I'm saying, y'all doing a good job teaching him. That young brother, I told him, I said, go get Cosmo to argue with me, because at the end of the day,
he parked you early.
The fact of the matter is, my brother, is that you guys are trying to delegitimize a book that has antiquity.
No.
And then try, because one day I tore down the legitimacy of your book. No. Because it's what year was it?
You've never even popped you never even blew your gun at us.
A dentist at the same
you time. Ain't never blew your gun at us.
No, this ain't got nothing to do with that.
Come on, Bree. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on, Selah. Let me say something. Hold on, let me say something real quick. Let me say something real quick. Okay, land your plane. And let me say something.
So the brothers are trying to block me at a free throw. Who does that, man? You know what I'm saying? I'm at the line and these brothers over here trying to wave and stand down.
Hey, man.
So watch this. The legitimacy of your book is based on a time period and its influences. Madam Blavatsky and Aleister Crowley and all of those dudes. But you would deny that and say that is a broad overgeneralization to make them guilty because, right? Same way you just did with me, same way you're doing with the Ethiopian.
Yo, don't make me call Tiny Gun, man. Don't make me call Tiny Gun.
Tiny Gun? Who you talking about? Rock monkey ass. Please.
Yo, he changed his name to Black Sage. He's Black Sage now.
He has a porn name now.
He's
Black Sage.
Don't make me big Tiny Gun over here, man.
You ain't solid in your belief. You just
now look. Remember, the topic is about the Ethiopian Bible.
Yeah, that's what we talking about, man.
That's what we talking about. Everybody look. Obviously, y'all scared of the higher light we be bringing out.
Mally, notice. Last time I was on here, when I said Octavian conquered Rome in 30 BC, sa.neter and Revelations are like, well, they had to learn from the Egyptians.
Yeah.
I just showed and sourced in my presentation that the Romans learned directly from the Greeks.
From the Greeks.
Yeah, you did show it. You did show it.
And then the Greek, now trip off this side, Netta. Now the Greeks, when they got up into Kemet, they Hellenized it. These niggas, sa.neter, these niggas invented a god. You ever heard of Serapis?
Yes.
They invented Serapis. They installed a priesthood to Serapis.
Damn.
Hey, trip off this. They even commissioned the translation of the Hebrew Torah into Greek. It's called the Septuagint. And that's the oldest version of your Old Testament completed that you have today is the Greek Septuagint of your Bible. Stop
All right.
praying.
Let me get Ashay in here. I think I hear him calling my name. Let me get Ashay. What's up, brother?
What's up, brother?
Come on, man.
Now, it's definitely a couple things I'm gonna address. The first one I'll definitely go address was the first topic that was at hand. Yes, absolutely. When it came down to the Axumite church, not Ethiopic, let's stop using the Greek terms. The Axumite church, when it came down to that, the authority of that was on to the Egyptian authority, the Greco-Roman Egyptian authority. All of their bishops, which will be the Abara, all of them were appointed by the patriarchs in Egypt in that Alexandrian time frame. That's a fact. Matter of fact, and that was a fact all the way, I think, up until like 1959. So like they just stopped with all of that. And then when it comes down to, I just heard the statement about the Hellenized Greek stuff and all of that. When it comes down to Kemet, those Greeks, like your Philos, like your Hippocrates and things of that nature, they literally said that the Cometians themselves were gods. So when they went over there, they were studying Parank. And even Serapis itself is a combination of the Apis bull,
that's right,
and Asar. It wasn't like everybody up until the Arabs came was adopting Kemetic culture and wanted to be the Cometians. Even Ptolemy himself called himself, he took on the title Nishubiti. So it's like, I don't really want to, respectfully, I don't want to hear the whole Greeks doing anything up in Egypt. Them boys wanted to be them Egyptians. They wanted to be the Cometians.
They Hellenized them and then took their shit and reinvented it.
Exactly. That's why you got white Jesus. And that's why you got black people worshiping white Jesus, because according to the narrative, Jesus was a black man. And then he got Europeanized, and then you was given Christianity and given the European concept of Jesus. So the Greeks don't have Osiris. The Greeks got Serapis, and then when the Romans got it, they got Serapis. You don't see no Romans talking about Osiris. They talking about Serapis. They got Romans.
How don't they have Osiris if that's a Greek word?
So
how wouldn't they have Osiris if that's a Greco word?
It sounds good, but what I just showed was sources from the Logos, how it started with Heraclius, came down through the Greeks,
600 BC,
to Philo, and then to in your Bible. I showed that with sources. I showed you how the Romans learned directly from the Greeks, and there wasn't a mention about no goddamn Osiris and the Ethiopians
or Egyptians about the Logos.
From Greeks, and I sourced that.
That's right.
This is the difference between saying what you feel and
would you would you actually put your half of your, I don't even want to really dive up into this stuff with you guys like that, because a lot of the stuff that be up here be kind of pseudo. Would you really put your information where your mouth at?
What you do if you ain't here to dive into it?
Do you really want to put your information where your mouth at on that topic that you coming from?
If you
do you really want to do that?
If you show your source, it'll end the argument. Period. It'll be.
Do you want to do that? I didn't know you was up here making that ridiculous claim.
Yes, he's ready to do that.
So what's your claim? That the Grecians were more heavily influenced by what?
Go back and watch the video from the beginning, and then come back and holler at me.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the claim you're making right now.
You don't even know the claim.
I'm talking about the claim you're making right now.
I said the Romans learned from the Greeks, and I sourced it. What's the problem?
I'm talking about your boy claim when he was talking about the Hellenized and all of this, and it wasn't no Osiris. How is that possible? Wait, hold on 1 second. You said that the Greeks didn't have Osiris, but Osiris is a Greek word.
I said the Greeks took your shit and invented their own shit,
No, you said they Hellenized it. Don't try to change your verbiage now. You said Hellenized. Show me Helen and Kemet. Show me Helen and Kemet. Do you know what Helen is?
Helen is Greek culture.
The same way they
Do you know what Helen is? I'm gonna ask you one more time because you clearly don't.
Helen is Greek culture.
Helen was a Greco deity.
Is Greek culture.
You don't know that?
Hellenized Jew is a Greek-speaking Jew. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
You don't understand. You don't understand what Helen is.
You don't understand. A
Clearly, you don't
Hellenized Jew
understand
is
what
a
Helen
Greek-speaking
is.
Jew. Helen, look, even in college,
You're using, and this is the problem because y'all use European scholars. You're continuing to misnomer things.
Let me get you together. Let me get you together. Let me get you together. Even if you in college and you part of a sorority or some type of fraternity, they have a conference every 4 years called the Pan-Hellenic Conference.
Yes,
the Hellenic Conference
because they say to Greeks.
The Hellenic anything is Greek.
Duh, because Helen is a Greco invention.
My point exactly.
Come on,
but can you show me that? Do you know? But I'm just saying, with the statement that you made, you said Hellenized Egypt. Can you show me the deity Helen? Wait, can you show me the deity Helen and Kemet?
No, I can't show you the deity Helen.
So you making a rambunctious statement that you can't support.
What I can show you is Ptolemy.
You said the Greeks wasn't using the word Osiris. You said they only had Serapis.
What I can show you is
no. Wait, you said the Greeks only had.
What I can show you is that the Greeks, the Greeks under Ptolemy Philadelphus commissioned the translation of the so-called Hebrew Torah into the Septuagint under 200 BCE. I can also show you during this same period that they installed a priesthood to this Serapis. They created a god named Serapis around the text, and they came up with soterology, the study of being saved or salvation. Also, during the same time period, the topic of the logos was being more and more expounded on. So when you get to Philo in the 1st century, way after Heraclitus in 600 BC, you got Philo telling you that the logos is the word of God, or the first creation of God, or the high priest.
That's in your Bible.
The agency to which God uses to forgive sins. What do you mean?
All right, yo, that's it, y'all. I got to close out. I got another show at 8 o'clock.
Easy work, baby.
Let me let my brother Selah close us out. Take us home, Selah. Let's close.
We're the gang, no.
Yo, peace.
And I'll be giving you a call, Selah, with Zion Warchild on the phone. So we can come up with the topic.
Salute Zion Warchild, you know what I mean? No, ain't no, you know what I mean? No hard feelings, man. I love the brother, man. It's all respect.
Zion.
We respect the Idris, you know. He gonna be with the gang in a minute, believe that.
Yeah, he gonna be over
when it's
with
all
us.
said and done. But like I said, I prove without a shadow of a doubt that the Ethiopian Bible is a product of Rome. The theology of believing in Jesus and the Father is one is a Greco-Roman theology. I showed that. You know what I mean? So I ain't gonna hold it up, man. Y'all go back and watch the video, see the sources. Ethiopian Bible, Product of Rome, Part 2, the Council of Chalcedon, the 9 Saints, and the Ethiopian Connection, showing you that Ethiopia is an extension of the Greco-Roman Empire, authority, influence, all of it. They try to say, well, Alexandria, you know, they didn't touch Alexandria. And Dioscorus got deposed and removed from his episcopate by Marcion. So what did you talk? And Alexandria of Egypt is the head of Ethiopia.
He had to get on his good foot, Selah.
Just like the Christian church is the daughter of the Catholic Church. Ethiopia is the daughter of Egypt when it comes to the theological, Christological doctrine of Christianity. And with that, your boy Selah Shalom is out there. Salute to the Creator Gang. Salute to sa.neter TV. Until next time. Peace.
Strike 3. You are
gang in the
out.
building.
CGG in the building, baby.
Sa.neter the OG. The bass like a chessboard, piece of move cold, Leota Santan. Spitting wisdom that's holy. Unc with the knowledge, dropping jewels, they heavy gold leaf. Jabari Falafakinki with the bold speech. Captain hold the line, Hebrew war tactics. Kim at walls crumble under Bible back practice. Scrolls versus the glyphs, hieroglyphs get blasted. Ancient scripts clash, truth wrapped in plastic. You need thick skin, we make movies, yo. F who you know, this is sa.neter studio. This is the toughest environment, rivalries, bro. Thick skin, tough heart, knowledge gon' blow. Pyramids tough, but the script's still louder. Scrolls in the cipher, the debate devours. Hebrew go to war, comedic power shower. Truth a double-edged sword, cut sharper than ours. Apostle with the mic, sermons hit like missiles. Elder something smooth, no wrinkles in the wisdom. They drop facts like bricks, the foundation official. This the sa.neter scene where the truth get chiseled. You need thick skin, we make movies, yo. F who you know, this is sa.neter studio. This is the toughest environment, rivalries grow. Thick skin, tough heart, knowledge gon' blow.